Fruits are often hailed as the cornerstone of a healthy diet, rich in vitamins, fiber, antioxidants, and natural sugars. For decades, nutritionists have encouraged increased fruit consumption as a way to lower the risk of chronic illnesses, including heart disease and stroke. But what if some fruits, when consumed under certain conditions or by specific individuals, could actually increase the very risks they are meant to reduce? It may sound surprising, but emerging research and clinical observations have revealed a lesser-known side of certain fruits that can be harmful, particularly to individuals with pre-existing health conditions. Stroke, one of the leading causes of death and disability worldwide, is often associated with risk factors such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and blood clotting disorders. Surprisingly, some fruits can interact with medications, disrupt blood sugar levels, or overload the body with specific nutrients, potentially triggering these conditions. These effects don't make the fruits bad, but they do call for greater awareness and moderation, especially among vulnerable groups. In this video, we'll explore 6 fruits that, despite their innocent appearance, can elevate stroke risk overnight under specific circumstances. The goal is not to fear fruit, but to better understand how even healthy foods can pose risks when misused or misunderstood. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this content, please like, comment, and share it with your friends or health groups on social media. Doing so helps spread knowledge and supports the growth of our channel. This video is for informational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. Always consult a healthcare professional or registered dietitian for personalized dietary guidance. Now, let's dive into 6 fruits that raise stroke risk overnight. Dried apricots have gained popularity as a convenient and nutrient-dense snack, rich in fiber, vitamins A and C, and notably potassium. While potassium is essential for healthy bodily functions, particularly for maintaining proper heart and muscle activity, an excessive intake of potassium can be dangerous. This is especially true for individuals with impaired kidney function or those taking medications that influence potassium levels in the body. Potassium plays a crucial role in regulating heart rhythm and maintaining blood pressure. Normally, the kidneys filter and excrete excess potassium to keep blood levels within a safe range. However, in people with chronic kidney disease or compromised renal function, potassium elimination is impaired. When such individuals consume potassium-rich foods like dried apricots in large quantities, their blood potassium levels can rise rapidly, a condition known as hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia is a silent but potentially fatal condition. Elevated potassium disrupts the electrical signals that control the heartbeat, leading to arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats, that can cause sudden cardiac arrest. Arrhythmias also reduce the heart's ability to pump blood effectively, which can precipitate ischemic stroke by limiting blood flow to the brain or causing blood clots. What makes dried apricots particularly risky is their concentrated potassium content. The drying process removes water, intensifying the potassium levels compared to fresh apricots. For example, a small handful of dried apricots can contain several times the potassium found in a single fresh apricot. This concentration makes it easy for individuals to unknowingly exceed recommended potassium limits. In addition to kidney disease, certain medications like potassium-sparing diuretics, ACE inhibitors, and angiotensin receptor blockers can increase potassium retention in the body. When combined with potassium-rich foods like dried apricots, these drugs can raise potassium to dangerous levels overnight. Another complicating factor is dehydration, which often accompanies illnesses like flu or gastrointestinal infections. Dehydration reduces kidney function temporarily, further impeding potassium excretion and magnifying the risks. Symptoms of hyperkalemia may be subtle at first, including muscle weakness, fatigue, or numbness. However, if untreated, it can escalate quickly to severe heart rhythm disturbances and stroke. Because these symptoms can appear suddenly and worsen overnight, it is crucial for vulnerable individuals to monitor their potassium intake carefully. Canned peaches are a convenient and tasty way to enjoy fruit year-round, but they come with hidden pitfalls that many consumers don't realize. Unlike fresh or frozen peaches, canned versions are often preserved in heavy syrup or brine, leading to a surprisingly high content of added sugars and sodium. These additives can significantly undermine cardiovascular health and elevate stroke risk. Sodium is a major culprit in the development of high blood pressure or hypertension, a leading risk factor for stroke worldwide. While fresh peaches naturally contain very little sodium, canned peaches frequently have sodium added as a preservative or flavor enhancer. This added sodium can quickly push daily intake above the recommended limits, especially when combined with other salty foods in a typical diet. High sodium intake causes the body to retain water, increasing blood volume and placing additional pressure on blood vessel walls. Over time, this elevated blood pressure can damage arteries and promote the formation of blood clots, both of which heighten the risk of ischemic stroke. Moreover, sudden spikes in blood pressure can also cause arteries in the brain to rupture, leading to hemorrhagic stroke. In addition to sodium, canned peaches are often packed in heavy syrup, which contains large amounts of added sugars such as high fructose corn syrup or cane sugar. Excessive sugar intake has been linked to increased triglyceride levels and inflammation, both of which contribute to the buildup of fatty plaques inside blood vessels, atherosclerosis. These plaques can rupture and block blood flow to the brain, triggering a stroke. The combination of added sodium and sugar in canned peaches creates a double-edged sword that affects both blood pressure and blood vessel health. Many people assume canned fruits are a healthy alternative to fresh fruit, but the nutritional profile can be drastically altered by the preservation process. This issue is particularly concerning for individuals already at risk for stroke, including those with hypertension, diabetes, or metabolic syndrome. Consuming canned peaches regularly or in large amounts can cause overnight increases in blood pressure and blood sugar, pushing vulnerable individuals closer to stroke events. Bananas are one of the most widely consumed fruits worldwide, beloved for their sweet taste, portability, and rich nutrient profile. They are an excellent source of potassium, vitamin B6, and fiber, and often recommended as a healthy snack. However, for individuals with diabetes or insulin resistance, bananas can pose a hidden threat due to their high carbohydrate content and glycemic load. The glycemic load measures how much a food raises blood sugar levels after consumption. While bananas have a moderate glycemic index, their carbohydrate density means that eating a whole banana can cause a noticeable spike in blood glucose. For people with diabetes, this sudden surge can be difficult to manage, even with medication or insulin therapy. Blood sugar spikes contribute to stroke risk in several ways. Elevated glucose levels cause damage to the lining of blood vessels, making them more prone to inflammation and atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaques that narrow arteries and increase the risk of blood clots. Over time, this damage can weaken cerebral arteries, making ischemic stroke more likely. Moreover, frequent fluctuations in blood sugar levels, known as glycemic variability, are independently linked to cardiovascular complications, including stroke. This variability stresses the body's regulatory systems and increases oxidative stress, leading to endothelial dysfunction in blood vessels. For diabetics, consuming high carbohydrate fruits like bananas without balancing with fiber, protein, or fat can exacerbate these blood sugar swings. Eating bananas on an empty stomach or in large quantities increases the risk further, causing an overnight effect where blood sugar spikes during the night or early morning hours. In addition, bananas contain natural sugars such as fructose and glucose, which, when consumed in excess, contribute to insulin resistance, a major driver of type 2 diabetes progression. Insulin resistance itself raises the risk of stroke by promoting hypertension, dyslipidemia, and obesity. Another concern is that bananas are often used as a quick energy source during physical activity or as a convenient snack. Diabetics relying on bananas for energy may inadvertently cause repeated blood sugar spikes without adequate glucose control strategies. That said, bananas are not inherently bad for diabetics if consumed thoughtfully. Portion control, pairing with foods that slow sugar absorption, like nuts or yogurt, and choosing slightly underripe bananas, which have lower sugar content, can help mitigate risks. Starfruit, also known as carambola, is a visually striking tropical fruit with a crisp texture and a unique tart sweet flavor. It is often celebrated for its vitamin C content and antioxidant properties. However, this fruit harbors a dangerous secret for individuals with impaired kidney function. Starfruit contains neurotoxins that can cause severe neurological complications, including symptoms that closely mimic stroke. In healthy individuals, the kidneys efficiently filter and eliminate toxins, including the compounds found in starfruit. But for those suffering from chronic kidney disease or renal insufficiency, these toxins accumulate in the bloodstream because the kidneys cannot remove them adequately. One such toxin is caramboxin, which has a direct effect on the central nervous system. The buildup of caramboxin can lead to a range of neurological symptoms, including confusion, seizures, agitation, and, in extreme cases, coma. These symptoms often develop rapidly and can be mistaken for a stroke or other serious neurological events. The neurotoxic effects may occur overnight after consuming even a small amount of starfruit, highlighting how quickly this fruit can escalate health risks in vulnerable populations. The danger of starfruit toxicity is often under-recognized because the fruit is generally regarded as healthy and is even recommended in some cultures for managing high blood pressure or diabetes. However, the neurotoxic risk makes starfruit a dangerous choice for anyone with reduced kidney function, including many older adults and people with diabetes who are at increased risk for kidney disease. Additionally, starfruit consumption by kidney patients has been linked to fatal outcomes in some cases. Medical literature reports multiple incidents where individuals with kidney failure suffered severe neurological damage after eating starfruit, emphasizing the critical importance of avoiding it entirely in these groups. Beyond kidney patients, individuals with normal renal function are unlikely to experience adverse effects from starfruit, but caution is advised if large quantities are consumed regularly. Moreover, starfruit contains moderate levels of oxalates, which in excess may contribute to kidney stone formation in susceptible individuals, further compromising kidney health over time. Coconut is often categorized as a fruit, though its nutritional profile more closely resembles that of nuts or seeds, particularly due to its high saturated fat content. While the tropical fruit and its derivatives, such as coconut oil, coconut milk, and dried coconut, are praised for their flavor and some health benefits, their high saturated fat content has raised concerns regarding cardiovascular health and stroke risk. Saturated fats have long been linked to increased levels of low-density lipoprotein, LDL, cholesterol, commonly known as bad cholesterol. Elevated LDL cholesterol promotes the buildup of plaques in arteries, a condition called atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis narrows blood vessels and makes them more prone to blockages, which can lead to ischemic stroke when blood flow to the brain is obstructed. Coconut's saturated fats differ chemically from those found in animal products, primarily containing medium-chain triglycerides, MCTs. Some studies have suggested that MCTs might be metabolized differently and could offer certain metabolic benefits, such as increased energy expenditure. However, evidence is mixed and often conflicting when it comes to coconut's impact on blood lipid profiles. Regular consumption of coconut in large amounts, especially in forms with added sugars or processed derivatives, can elevate LDL cholesterol and total cholesterol levels. For people already at risk of stroke due to hypertension, obesity, or genetic predisposition, this increase in harmful cholesterol may accelerate vascular damage and clot formation. In tropical countries, where coconut is a dietary staple, populations tend to consume it alongside traditional diets high in fiber and low in processed foods, which may mitigate some negative effects. However, in Western contexts, where diets are often higher in saturated fat and processed foods, adding coconut products may compound cardiovascular risks. Another consideration is the form in which coconut is consumed. Fresh coconut flesh contains fiber and beneficial nutrients, while processed coconut oils and creams are concentrated sources of saturated fat without fiber. Additionally, many commercially available coconut products contain added sugars or preservatives that further harm vascular health. Lychee, a small sweet and fragrant tropical fruit, is enjoyed around the world for its delicious flavor and vitamin-rich profile. However, lychee has been linked to a very specific and alarming health risk related to sudden blood sugar drops, particularly in children and malnourished individuals. This phenomenon is associated with a toxin called hypoglycin A, which is found in the unripe fruit and seeds. Hypoglycin A disrupts the body's ability to regulate blood glucose by interfering with fatty acid metabolism. This disruption can cause acute hypoglycemia, a dangerous condition characterized by abnormally low blood sugar levels. In severe cases, hypoglycemia leads to seizures, unconsciousness, and neurological damage that may mimic stroke symptoms. This risk is most prominently observed in regions where lychee is harvested and consumed in large quantities, especially during harvest season when many unripe fruits are eaten on an empty stomach. Outbreaks of lychee-linked hypoglycemia have been documented, often affecting malnourished children who are more vulnerable to sudden metabolic disturbances. The mechanism is believed to involve the combined effects of hypoglycin A and low blood sugar reserves due to poor nutrition or fasting. When consumed, the toxin blocks the liver's ability to release glucose into the bloodstream, causing a rapid and severe drop in blood sugar levels overnight. This condition can progress rapidly and be fatal without prompt treatment. Although lychee is safe for healthy individuals when eaten ripe and in moderation, this risk highlights the importance of understanding how natural compounds in fruits can have unintended harmful effects under specific circumstances. For people with diabetes or those prone to hypoglycemia, consuming large amounts of lychee could exacerbate blood sugar instability. Fruits hold an undeniable place in a balanced diet, being packed with essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that promote overall health. However, as this video highlights, certain fruits carry hidden risks that can increase the risk of stroke, sometimes overnight, especially in individuals with specific health conditions or medication regimens. The key takeaway is not to demonize these fruits, but to approach them with informed caution. The best approach is personalized nutrition guided by medical advice. Patients with hypertension, diabetes, kidney disease, or clotting disorders should consult healthcare professionals before making significant changes to their fruit intake. Awareness of how certain fruits interact with medications and affect metabolic processes can help prevent dangerous complications.